Hi there folks. So dry aging beef, dry aging lamb, dry aging pork. Yes, we can actually dry age pork as well. Has become quite a hot topic on social media streams, Pinterest, your favorite social media channel. You'll find a lot of videos explaining explicitly how to dry age. Most of these are generated in the US. I think I'm one of the first or few that is based in South Africa that will be sharing all the tips and tricks and secrets of dry aging. I believe that the biggest misconception is that the word dry in the statement dry aging is the objective that we want to achieve. We sincerely don't want to dry out the meat. We don't want to remove moisture because moisture is flavor. I mean, if you just think of biltong, your favorite biltong is seldom bone dry. On the contrary, it's usually a nice piece of wet biltong. And the same as with a good piece of meat, a good piece of beef, a good piece of lamb. Why did we previously dry out the meat? And I was a participant, I was a disciple of dry aging meat with the sole objective of removing as much moisture. And that lies in what is the threats to the aging process. And I would say the most obvious threat that we've met is mold. Mold holds hands with wet and moist situations, and that's why we remove it. With the dry ager equipment, we can now age in a dry environment without having the risk of mold being a participant in the process through our patented equipment that we have installed in our dry agers. The most significant of that is our sanitizing unit, which is a UVC practice that kills off all the secondary and tertiary bacteria, spores that create mold and feed mold. Dry aging traditionally, or dry aging that you would meet on the internet, engages the use of salt blocks. Now, this is the most commonly found on the internet, on YouTube videos and so forth, is the practice of sticking a whole lot of salt or salt blocks into a fridge. Salt removes moisture from the atmosphere, and it removes it without any control. You can't turn off the volume, you can't tone it down, you can't channel it. It just says, I'm metabolically hungry for moisture, and its salt draws it out. With this practice, you do achieve a dry sensation in the meat, you do remove moisture from the air, but you cannot stop mold from growing because the spore is bacterially driven. Now, the other problem I've found with dry aging on the internet is people being educated that the olfactory smell, the taste that borders on a good mature cheese, a Roquefort cheese, a sensation of decomposition is smelt and tasted, is part of what dry aging is. And that has alienated a very big segment of our culinary community to turn their backs on dry aging and turn their backs on having this great piece of meat that is both flavorful and tender. This is one of the conditions that society has found the hardest to accept when enjoying a piece of steak is decomposition, is rot, is throat vleis, for a lack of a better expression. Over the last 8 months, the dry ager fridge, like the one behind me, has really put its hand up, has really come to the fore to stamp out those two big issues that has now become partners in the flavor profile. Firstly, we don't dry out the meat at all. We don't remove any moisture from the atmosphere. We control the atmosphere, we control the moisture, and we keep what the carcass brings into the cabinet, we keep it going. So we keep flavor going. Secondly, through our very unique UVC process, we sterilize and sanitize the air. And now there's no, zero, nothing, any sensation of decomposition, of rot, of decay, or mold. And this should give every single carnivore that comfort, that this can be enjoyed without that mental preparation, like when you get invited to take a bite out of a piece of Roquefort cheese. There's this mental preparation you need to do. We don't have to do that with our meat anymore. We can have this great taste. And that is what I want to underline and highlight as one of the most extreme and absolute unique abilities of the dry aging equipment by Dry Ager. So there's no olfactory sensation of decomposition, there's no flavor of rotten meat, and there's absolutely no dry and tasteless morsel that will be left on your plate. Thank you very much.